Hey y'all. So I'm going to be reading day 9, 10, and 11 from Be Not Far From Me. And the book is getting good, so let's jump right in into reading. Alright, day 9. I put away what's left of the possum in the morning, afraid it'll go bad if I wait much longer. It goes down easy, my stomach understanding its purpose. I know this means I'll be in that much more pain if I begin the process of starving again, but I can only hope that's not in store for me. I stick my empty baggies out in one pocket, and in the other one, something left in it, one oxy in the other. My bed foot is still swollen, but the wound looks as clean as I expected to. I put some plastic over it and pop it back in the sling, adjusted my walking stick under my armpit, and set out once more. I keep thinking there's got to be an end to this, that we've obliterated so much of our natural habitat that sooner or later I'm going to stumble across a road, an ATV trailer, a natural gas operation, something. People have never been decent about leaving nature alone, tearing into her with machines of metal teeth and money-hungry mouths. How many times did I have to pull to the side to let a gas truck pass me? The little road that led to my house, too small for the both of us. A lot, that's how many. And I cussed every time, getting to the point where I think the guys got a kick out of me, giving them the finger, and started using my road more often just to see me go off from them from behind the steering wheel. Dad always said if I didn't give people such a reaction, they'd stop giving me so much shit. Still, I'll be alright with seeing a company truck right now. Like maybe I wouldn't even cuss at them, but I can't find a walking trail, let alone a road, so I don't see that anywhere in my immediate future. I stop to fill my whiskey bottle when I hear the ripple of a creek. This one deep enough that it has a decent flow in it, and a couple of slow pools near the rocks, where I see some smallmouth bass passing the time. Their mouths open and close in a rhythm that my own breathing picks up, slow and steady. I didn't know why I'm thinking so hard out here about all the things I've done wrong. Maybe because I've got nothing but time, and I haven't exactly done a whole lot of right things. Once my bottle's full, I climb back up to the bank awkwardly, grabbing onto trees and pulling myself with my arms more than I'm using my good leg. I lose my balance enough to knock against a little elm, scraping the raw edge of my foot against it and sending a blaze across my brain. I dig out the oxy and break it in half with my fingernail, although a lot of the nail gets bit back before the pill gives away. I'm malnourished. All the little bits that used to make up me draining away slowly. I get back, hobbling to position and leaning a touch to the side where the whiskey bottle hangs heavy. I know it's going to pull me as I go. I know I'm nowhere near to making a straight line as I hobble forward, walking stick, then a good foot. But at least I'm still moving. The best way to spot a trail is not to look right at it. Anybody that knows the woods gets that, but trying to teach someone how to see things without looking is a tall order. I knew the woods around our house well enough to be aware of the deep paths, the raccoon stomping grounds, and the deer paths and raccoon stomping grounds, and Dad taught me how to gauge the size of a deer from its print. But it was Davey B that showed me how to find a trail where there were no tracks. Right there, he told me, grabbing my wrist right before I went down to the edge of the grapevine. Embarrassed that I fell, and even more because they caught me, I shook him off. What's right there? Davey nodded to the west, and I'd done that, and I'd done what anybody would do, stared hard at the bush, trying to figure out what exactly it was that had his attention. Nope, he said. Don't look at the ground. Look midway up the trees and rest your eyes. Then you'll see it. And damn if he wasn't right. It was like one of those pictures where 1,000 different little things make up one big picture. And if you're looking too close at the details, you can't see the overall view. The deer trail that catches my eye now does so only because I haven't given up scanning the trees for places, and the off chance that I'll wander back across the trail. It's not paint that I spot, but a knot that either looks like a human face or I've been alone way too long. Whatever it is, the case is, I'm looking at. Whatever the case, I'm looking at. That not the ground when it all comes together, and there's a deer path. Humans aren't the only creatures that have it. Deer use the same trails, moving from a bedding area to a feeding area to water every day. That's not unusual to find the splayed finger paws of raccoons and the scratches of a turkey right next to the cloven hoofprint of a deer. A wildlife trail is often used, and by many different types of animals. But that doesn't mean it's screaming for my attention either. Animals move soft and slow through the woods, and spotting a trail means looking for a small blades of grass that bent the same direction, like how I part my hair when combing it after the shower. The path is about as wide as that too, and not heading west, but I've been making my way long enough that it would be nice to follow for a while. So I decide to see what the deer know that I don't. I find a few spots where they've bedded down recently, and some scat that tells me that they're not far off. There's no real reason why I should care. Like having it pointed out a lifetime ago. It's not as if I could run down and kill it with my bare hands. And even if I could, I wouldn't. I wouldn't eat 1/10 of it and carry about the same before it went bad. It's curiosity that leads me on, not need. So when I come across the fawns, I'm not looking them up and down to assess where the good cuts are. I just enjoy them. They're gazing in a small clearing, little nubs of teeth pulling up from the grass. They've still got their spots, dazzling white in the sun, contented tails flickering back and forth as they eat. The mom lifts her head and spots me. Falling still and silent, I do the same, waiting for her to snort and let her little ones know that there's a predator nearby and it's time to run. She doesn't. That's how I know I'm well and truly fucked. Chapter 10. My baggies are empty, and so is my stomach. I don't bother with a shelter. Instead, I crawled in under the low branches of a pine and slept with my fist punched up into my belly, like somehow I could trick it into thinking it was full. It didn't work, and I wake up with needles stuck to my skin at all angles and a grumbling in my gut that nothing but food is going to fix. It doesn't hurt yet. I've probably got at least 2 days before it'll be in pain again, so that's something. I pull up some greens and chew on them, rolling them in my mouth, same as the deer did the day before, thinking. I still haven't moved out from under the pine when it starts to rain, low-hanging branches keeping me reasonably dry. I wrap up into my blanket and watch it fall, changing from big, lonely loops into a decent downpour, then becoming a sheet of water. There's nothing I can do but sit, and while I've been telling myself all along to keep moving, like it was a plan that would make everything okay in the end, that motivation is gone. I try to tell myself that I'm just taking advantage of the little break, that there's no point in wandering around, getting soaked to the skin and sliding down wet ridges, and maybe even getting struck by lightning. But the truth is, I'm tired. I'm tired of walking, not going anywhere, tired of everything. I've got hurting right down my insides, and I'm tired in the sleepy sense too, even though I know I laid down last night before it was fully dark and the sun had already put in half a day's work when I woke. None of this is good, and I know it. My body's worn out, my mind is ready to follow the path. Little things have been happening that haven't got my full attention, and now that I'm stuck here, I can't quite ignore them all. I talked to a tree yesterday, though I didn't recall what I said. I know it didn't answer, which is a point in my favor, but the fact that I was disappointed by that is not. That I've been thinking about cheese a lot. I probably put 4 miles in yesterday, and the whole time I thought about big orange blocks of Kobe. I can't explain it, but I could see cheese in my mind, right down to the uneven breaks when you pull off a chunk that you want and the way it crumbles in your hand. I even sat down hard at one point, right on my bad foot because it was still up in the sling, and I didn't really think about the pain too much. I was still caught up in cheese. The color, the smell, the taste, the texture. I even thought about the way the refrigerator gives off a nice poof of cold air when you first open it, a prelude to cheese. I say to myself, you're a fucking idiot. That might be true, but it doesn't mean I can't sit here in the rain, chewing on grass and thinking about cheese. I guess it's because it's something I absolutely can't have. When I was a kid, I wanted all kinds of things that I didn't ever get. A pony, a dog, a mom. I'd sit around and think about those things, the fun we'd have, how close we'd be, the places we'd go together. Funny thing is, even in the daydreams, I always ended up taking everybody to the woods. Ha ha, I say, accidentally losing a piece of greenery from my mouth. I pick it out of my bra and pop it back in. I curl into a ball, blanket draped over the curve of my hips, sharper now. I notice. I can count on my ribs even in the dark, my fingers tripping over them the same way Mama claimed I did to her, but from the inside. My hands watering to my face, tracing the hollows of my eyes so deep it's like my skull's working its way around. I've always known my body, its strength and purpose, the long muscles of my legs and the lean bulge of my biceps. This is different. This is an intimacy with my skeleton, from the exposed broken tips to my foot to the sharp corners of my jaw digging into the ground as I try to get comfortable. I'm learning the deeper parts of me, even maybe past the ones the doctor can name, right down to the soft bits that even further, where things you can't actually touch live. I'm discovering me out here, for the good and the bad. There's things I'm proud of and stuff I'd rather forget, but it all makes up who I am and what I was and what I've got to work with if I want to become something else. And I don't get to do those things or be that person if I die out here. Yeah, dumbass, I say by the way of pep talk. I let out a big breath, stirring up some of the pine needles in front of my face. There's a decent breeze, chilling fingers reaching in to find me and lifting the corners of my blanket. I tuck it in tighter and curl closer into myself. I pull Davey B's hat down to my eyebrows. Tomorrow, I tell him. Tomorrow, we're going to get shit done. Day 11. It's raining again in the morning, but I said I was going to move today, so I will. I get soaked just crawling out from under the pine, cold drops leaving chilly roulettes on my skin. I tie the blanket at my neck, but I can't do much to keep it close while I'm walking. It billows out around me, what's left of my shirt barely hanging past my bra. My jeans are wet up to my knees and under a minute. Davey's hat a soggy mess. I put my sling on, tucked my bad foot behind me, and ignoring the complaint from my knee as I do. My good foot has been washed clean by the rain and looks soft and naked out in the light, skin barely puckering through the folds. Time to go, I say, as a way of making it final. I've learned how to make decent time using the walking stick as a crutch, and I set a good pace at the outset, spotting the best place to plant the stick, swing myself forward, and bring down my good foot. It's exhausting work, both physically and mentally. I got a headache fast today, probably half from wearing out my eyes in the rain and half from being hungry again. I'm back to being in pain, and part for the reason I didn't just wrap up in my moldy blanket and stay under the pine until people or coyotes find my body was because if it happens, then I killed a mama possum for no good reason. And if it decides to just sit there and die, then all she did was give me a few more days to hurt in, and I don't know that would square with her or her babies. I'm determined to save my own life, not because it's worth living, but because I don't want to disappoint a dead possum. It's a dumb thing to think, but it makes me laugh, distracting me from the gathering storm right up until it almost kills me. Thunder breaks overhead, so close that I jump. Walking stick going out from underneath me as I stumble forward, landing on my hands and knees. A tree goes down behind me, whacking the branches left and right from the neighbors and hitting from its neighbors and hitting the forest floor with a shudder that I feel in my bones. It falls right where I've been, trunk only by about as wide as my waist, and that's more than enough to knock the life right out of me, or worse. Not kill me outright, but leave me crushed, trapped, and dying with days to go. Fuck, I say. A fresh gust of wind pushes through the woods, blowing everything that doesn't have roots in front of it. Leaves pass fly, a stick goes tumbling by my face, another crash fills the woods. It vibrates right up into my fingers, the very ground shuddering because something big just met its end. Fuck, I say again. There's a real storm. Not a bit of rain or a gust of wind that'll blow over in a minute or so. There's something menacing in the air. Everything tinted with a faint pink that means trouble, and I'm too busy thinking about a dead possum to notice it. I get onto my good foot, easing the walking stick back under my armpit. The rain falls so heavy I can't see an individual drop, just a wall of water coming down from the sky that changes directions every time the wind gusts, but always seems to be landing in my face anyway. Lightning breaks nearby, close enough that I can smell it, sharp and acrid. That means me moving again, but I don't know what toward. I can't get low because all the water will be rising. Streams good for me to drink from just minutes before, not one to pull me into them. I can't climb either because lightning always hits high spots, and standing near a big tree is like asking to be electrocuted or crushed. The wind rises once more, strong enough to push me forward. I stop where I'm at to wipe the rain out of my eyes, a fruitful effort. I've got no cover and no way to know which way safety lies, or any chance of making it there if I did. Everything is against me, the wind, the rain, the trees themselves. The nature of respect all my life has no interest in showing me the same, so fuck it, I say, quiet. I get another push from behind for that. The wind is not happy with me. No, really, I say, tossing my walking stick out into the trees. No longer a tool, but one of a million sticks. I'm just trying it and being careful and doing my best. If a tree's going to follow me, I'm going to be standing up straight when it happens. Fuck it, I say again, yanking my foot out of the sling, and then I run. I am a wild woman. I run through the rain, though it spits hard enough to leave welts on my skin, and my blanket flying behind me. There's a snap on my left, and I change direction, suddenly like prey invading a predator. The tree falls, splinters flying to slice my face. I do not care. I'm still running, revealed in the speed, rejoicing in the freedom, moving fast towards nothing. I do not know if I am panicking or if this is the most sane I've ever been. Have I finally lost it, or did I only realize that there is no hope to run, there's no hope, and to run through a storm is better than to die curled under a tree? There is something freeing, giving up and accepting that I am going to die out here. If the woods will have me, then first I will drink all it has to offer, a child once again. Uncaring as to how I look or what others think, I am utterly alone, untethered. Okay. My balance is off, the severe part of my foot no longer there to hold me. But I learn the new steps quickly, ignoring the pain. My lungs burn, rain flies in my face, my legs ache, and my foot is a savage piece of meat, but I press on. I am pushing my body, angry at it for not being strong enough to get me through, for succumbing to weakness and starvation and wounding. It is only a husk of It's only a husk of real me deep inside. The Ashley who isn't done living, but whose barley can't keep going. Fuck you, I say again. This one, a breathless gasp, the worst tasting like a bile and dandelion greens, as what little I have in my stomach spurges upward. There's nothing left in me, no food or energy, only willpower. Even my own body has turned on me, and all I can do is force it forward, a breaking down vehicle for the Ashley trapped inside. The storm has passed, the sun breaking through the clouds, but still I run, simultaneously panicked and invisible. The animals might not know to be afraid of me, but they are learning. There is movement in the brush to my left when I spook something. I spin, whiskey bottle arsing out from where it's tied to my belt loop, to crash against a tree, glass shattering in 1,000 pieces as the sun illuminates the shreds airborne. I pitch backward, arm spinning, my bad foot search for purchase and unable to find it. There's a moment where life doesn't have me yet, and I can see clearly through a break in the canopy where a jet leaves a white tail behind it. Civilization's only miles away, but straight up unreachable. Then I'm falling. On the way down the ridge, I crack my head on a tree, losing a chunk of hair, slice my leg on a broken bottle, mouse still hanging from my jeans, break a rib, sprain my wrist, lose the teeth, and the whole time, I am laughing. I land on my stomach, any air I had left knocked out of me, along with what little food was inside my stomach. It all comes up: dandelion shreds, stomach acid, creek water, and a few worms. Everything I have hurts, but none of it seems to matter as I pull myself into a sitting position and lean against a tree, tasting blood. I left hair and teeth, and I'm sure more than a little skin on the ridge above me, a little something to leave behind before nature gets the rest. Shit, I say, and spit out some dirt along with red tinted spit. I'm done in. My fit haven't taken everything I had it left. I'm not dead yet, but I might as well be, because my limbs are so heavy I can't move, and my eyelids are starting to feel the same. I might have knocked myself silly on the way down, I realize, which could be part of why I'm not so worried about dying now. Whether it's here or a few yards away, I find it in me to crawl for a little bit. Crawl towards nothing. Nothing and no one. I look ahead anyway, pure curiosity making me wonder if there's anything better ahead that I can die next to. The mist clears, a little breeze pushes through, and I spot a tent. It says a lot. The first thing I do when I see a sign of another human being is hide. I've been too long in the woods, too long on my own. I should be running towards the tent, screaming for help, but my first instinct is to hunker down. I've been among the animals so long that I'm thinking like one, sure that anything that's not me is out to hurt me, and the best thing to do is wait and watch and not give myself away. That's what I do. Peering through some wild blackberries that are just showing their leaves, do their thorns make themselves known right away. I've drawn blood on my forearms twice before I'm settled among them. My legs not able to hold a crouch for long. I sit and watch, but nothing is happening. And soon my brain is calming from the scare, and I notice that the pegs holding the tent down are brown with rust. The edges of the tent corner frayed and weathered. Then I see the backpack resting against a tree. I didn't spot it right away because it's faded and worn. With a colony of mushrooms sprouting from one side, I pull myself up, ignoring the thorns that try to hold me back as I go. Like they don't want me to have to suffer this one last thing. But it's too late. I already know. I knew when I took a deep breath to look at the tent. I knew that I saw the rotted backpack, one that I kept my eyes on as I trotted through the woods, smaller feet trying to keep up with the pair in front of me. I knew before I walked up to it, knew before I flipped it over just to be sure. There on the back, embroidered in a proud font his mom had picked out and painstakingly sewed onto the thing her son loved best. It read, "Property of Davey B." I'm screwing up the courage to unzip the tent. I've done a lot of hard things in my life, always putting on a brave face and pulling on my own bootstraps. I said goodbye to my mama, bought groceries and food stamps while keeping my upper lip stiff, lived with a garbage bag for a window instead of glass for a few years. I've been left behind, never having the chance or the inclination to do the leaving. Now I'm standing here with half a foot and swelling wrist, a broken rib, and a sprained blood stain on my jeans from where the whiskey bottle got me. So surely I can gather courage to undo the zipper. I take a deep breath, which hurts like a bitch because of the rib, and I just do it. It's a simple action, one that doesn't reveal anything I don't already know. Davey died curled into a ball, either from hunger or pain or the realization that no one was coming for him, and the only person he could get close to was himself. His knees are up to his chest, bones poking through the worn cargos he'd always hiked in, his skull resting against his kneecaps. I wonder if he missed his hat as he was dying, and if it could have been a pillow or a reminder of his mom or something to hold on to and make him push through and get back home. I crawled in beside him and tear it off my head and put it on his, pulling it down over his ears, which are still there, wrinkled and small, but there. "I'm so sorry, Davey," I say, my voice breaking as I cry. I'm crying for him and for me because, wild woman or not, I know that Davey B had the best chance of anyone to make it out of this place alone, and he didn't. I didn't think I had much of a shot left when I lost my head, so adding all the hurts from rolling down the ridge didn't do me any favors. But it led me to him, so I can't exactly wish it back. "I've been looking for you," I tell Davey, settling in beside him, and it's true. Maybe not in the beginning, but certainly once my thoughts started going to this void, like there was something connecting us, something that drew me to his hat, and then to where he carved his name, and now to where Davey himself, like maybe all the thoughts I spent on him went up in the air and got twirled around together, and maybe I wouldn't be kidding myself too hard to purpose that he was thinking about me every now and then too. And maybe those thoughts had something like courage between them and between him and me, enough to bring me here now. "Is that what happened, Davey?" I asked. I end up asking Davey a lot of things. About whether he thought I've done a good job in the woods up to now, and if he thinks I should feel bad about killing that possum, or if it was the right thing to do. Because Davey B would know what was the right thing to do, and he'd do it every time. I wanted to know that I listened to everything he ever told me, that I made a fireboard and ate the right plants, that I used my own hair to do cordage and built a shelter out of pine boughs. I wanted to know that all those things added up so I wouldn't die out there and lead me here, to a place where I want to be. So I lie down in the only bed I'll ever share with Davey B, and I close my eyes. Davey B is found. I'm shook. This is getting good. So y'all, we're going to keep reading this. We're moving on to chapter 12. I can't believe Davey B has been found and is dead. Anyway, it's been fun. So wait for the next chapters. I think Veronica's reading the next one. And see y'all later.